here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, everybody. Mark Levin here. Let's get right to this on election night. You need to know something. I am told Pennsylvania, Michigan, North Carolina, Florida, very, very close. So if you're in line, if you're in your car, you say, well, I don't need to vote, it doesn't matter. Actually, I'm told it does matter. Not from the Trump campaign, by the way. I'm looking at independent numbers. Pennsylvania, Michigan, we're all over these states. North Carolina, Florida, very close. Now, these are earlier states, so you can, in fact, make a difference. So I would encourage Levinites, stop whatever you're doing and get to your polling place. Many of you are in line, many of you are in your cars, and it's very, very tight in a number of these states. And we have Governor Mike Pence with us. Governor Pence, how are you, sir?
I'm well, Mark. Thanks so much for that clarion call. You're right. This election, we know a little bit about racing in Indianapolis, and I've been telling people for the last couple of weeks, this is we're coming out of the fourth turn. This is wheel to wheel, and it's hammer down. We're sprinting to grab that checkered flag. But everyone within the sound of my voice who longs for a stronger America at home and abroad, rebuilding our military, reviving our economy by reducing taxes, repealing Obamacare, repealing all the job-killing executive orders that Barack Obama has signed, and most importantly of all, as you've said, the people that want to see a president who will make appointments to the Supreme Court of men and women who will strictly construe the Constitution in a manner consistent with the tradition of the late and great Antonin Scalia. Just need to go out today and vote. Cast that vote, exercise that franchise, and we'll make America great again.
Now, Governor, I don't know if it's true or not. Obviously, I get information, and I don't know. And I haven't gotten any from you. I just want to make clear I haven't gotten it from any campaign. But I am told the evening vote on the West Coast, the afternoon vote, but on the East Coast and the Midwest, and so the evening vote will decide a number of these states. So if conservatives and Republicans and others who are supportive of your team and oppose Hillary Clinton, if they turn out and vote, we can pick off a number of these states.
There's just simply no question, and as the polls begin to close in the hours ahead, this is going to be a fight to the finish. But I have to tell you, campaigning with Donald Trump as I did last night, after midnight, when we turned to November the 8th, and we were in Michigan in front of literally thousands of people who'd come out to rally around the cause, I go into this very encouraged. I think everyone who has responded to Donald Trump's message that we can have a stronger America at home and abroad. We can reverse the policies of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton that have weakened America's place in the world and stifled our economy. Just needs to understand that their vote counts. It matters, and doing everything in their power to ensure that we bring home a victory. Victory for the American people is in the hands of the American people today.
And it is in the hands of the American people. And we have the biggest 6 p.m., 3 p.m. show in America. And I just want to encourage people, many of whom are in their cars or in their trucks or whatever, listening to this program. I don't know in the end how this will turn out, but I'm telling you that in a number of these states, I can see that it could be very, very tight. And so people can make a difference. People can make a difference. I know they hear this every election, but based on what I'm seeing, and I don't have exact numbers, but based on what I'm seeing, that's the case. Florida, Michigan, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, you folks. I mean, and by the way, those are just the earlier states. You know, there's Colorado, Nevada, and so forth and so on. These all matter.
That's right. And we're seeing tremendous turnout in all of those states, and but you're exactly right. This is going to be a closely fought election, but the choice could not be more clear. I mean, this is really a choice between change and the status quo. I mean, if people think the policies of Barack Obama that will be expanded on by Hillary Clinton. She wants to raise taxes by $1 trillion. She wants to put single-payer health care into the center of Obamacare. She said that she wants people on the Supreme Court who will represent a particular view rather than strictly upholding the Constitution of the United States. If people want that, then status quo is on the ballot today. But if they want real change, if they want change that will rebuild our military, revive our economy the way Ronald Reagan did in the 1980s. And frankly, if they want to bring an end to the pay-to-play politics that's been emblematic of the Clintons throughout their careers in public life and really drain the swamp in Washington, D.C. with fundamental ethics reform, then a vote for Donald Trump begins all of that, and we'll go to work on that starting tomorrow morning. But you're absolutely right. Your clarion call at the top of the show to encourage people, if they're driving home tonight within the sound of my voice, if they're at the office or listening over a kitchen table and they haven't yet voted, now's the time just to grab those car keys or walk down the street to that polling place and cast a vote to make Donald Trump the next president of the United States.
All right, Mike Pence, we wish you all the best. Good luck to you, my friend.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for having me on tonight. And I really do believe this election is in the hands of the American people, and there's an opportunity for us to make America great again. And I'm hoping and praying that we have an opportunity, Donald Trump and I, to work together to do just that.
Well, you may have a shot at it. So God bless you, and we appreciate you very much. You take care of yourself.
Thank you, Mark.
All right. I'm not kidding. Now, polls close in most of Florida at 7 p.m., but not all of Florida. You got some that are open till 8 p.m. But Florida's a big deal. And Florida's tinkering. It's tilting back and forth. New Hampshire closes at 7 p.m. Virginia, it's my home state. I don't know how close it is in Virginia. But my home state, we really got to step up. You got important congressional races here. You've got in the 10th congressional district, you have a leftist running, the former wife of that fool, Congressman Moran, against Barbara Comstock. Many of you are on $267 or 66 or 95 or wherever you might be. From McLean, Virginia to Winchester, Virginia, and everywhere in between, you need to vote. And you have 47 minutes to do it. 7:30 p.m. Am I reading this correctly, Mr. Producer? Are these my time? 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, North Carolina and Ohio close. I would not rely on these polls about Ohio. If you live in Ohio and you hear me, you better get to the polling place as fast as you can. And once you're in line, don't move. Once you're in line, you stay in line. You get to vote. In North Carolina, you're a pivotal state now. So you're a pivotal state. If Hillary Clinton wins Florida and or North Carolina, there's not a lot we can do. And those are early states. So it's very, very important. At 8 p.m., most of Michigan closes. 8 p.m., Pennsylvania. That's your deadline. I'm told it's closer in Pennsylvania than people thought. I'm told it's closer in Michigan than people thought. That's a big deal. I'm guessing we're behind. And I'm from suburban Philadelphia, and I'm telling you, the rest of Pennsylvania, you better pour out and pour out big, because you're going to have to counter Philadelphia, just the way it is. The Democrat machine in Philadelphia is corrupt as hell. There, I said it, and it's true. 9 p.m. 9 p.m., Arizona, Colorado, crucial. Wisconsin, important too. 10 p.m., Iowa and Nevada. These are Eastern time, right, Rich? So these are my time, Eastern time. So you all can calculate it yourself. This is an election. This is a turnout election. And there are people who are voting now to change this country in ways that are simply unacceptable to those of us who love it. Simply unacceptable. And the Democrats are, in fact, relying on their constituent groups, which they pay off with lots of largesse through the government And I'm telling you right now, if it wasn't for the flood of immigration that's taken place in the last 50 years, the Democrats couldn't win 2/3 of the states in this country. And by the way, I don't care what color you are, what ethnicity you are, what ancestry you are, what sex you are, what religion you are. That's true for all Americans. The Democrat Party is fundamentally transforming this nation, the citizenry, the culture, the government, the military, the police. And this is an election that says, no, that's enough. You can't do that. Now, I don't know what this election is going to look like at the end. I don't know who's going to win what. I don't know if one wins the popular, one wins the electoral, vice versa. I don't know. None of us know. But I'll tell you this. Based on what I'm seeing and being told, and I'm not going to get into specifics, and by the way, these exit polls could be way off. It doesn't matter. Based on what I'm seeing and being told, you got at least half a dozen states that are tight. I don't know what that means, by the way, tight. Could be 5 points, could be 0.5 points. But if you're in Pennsylvania and Michigan and you're saying, yeah, what's the point? The Democrats are going to win. You're making a big mistake. If you're in North Carolina and Florida and figure the Republicans have it in the back, you are making a big mistake, too. A really big mistake. And, of course, as I said, there's New Hampshire and so forth. So we'll be monitoring this during the course of the election. And also, you got big races in these states. You got, Wisconsin, you have Ron Johnson running against a radical leftist. You got Pat Toomey running in Pennsylvania against a radical leftist. You've got Rubio running in Florida against a radical leftist. You got to pull these guys across the line. You got Brian Mast in Florida's 18th. You got our buddy Scott Garrett in New Jersey's 5th. That's a crucial vote up there in New Jersey. You might say, what the hell? If you're a Republican in New Jersey, you might say, what the hell? There's no Senate thing going on, no governorship going on. The Democrats are going to win. What the hell? No, you've got a race that you have got to pull this guy over the finish line on. Scott Garrett. And you're hearing me, many of you. You're taking public transportation, or you're in their cars, or you're home. Get up. Let's go. Virginia. Get up. Let's go. Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Florida, Michigan. Come on. We have to stop Hillary Clinton. This is a damage control election. Please don't hand them the Supreme Court. Please don't hand them the Supreme Court. Please don't hand them the Federal Treasury. Please don't hand them our police departments. It's time to take the FBI back from Loretta Lynch. It's time to take the Justice Department back. It's time to do all these things. It's time, once and for all, to send the Clintons home, where they can make $300-400 million more on their speeches and everything. It won't matter. They'll be gone. It's time to do more than just send a message. It's time to take action. It really is. Colorado's very important, too, at 9 p.m. closing. Eastern. Now, these times are Eastern. Let me go through this once more before the break, because this is a very precious hour. Most of Florida closes in 40 minutes. Not all of Florida. You still have part of Florida that closes at 8 p.m., but you need to get rolling, folks. I am telling you from what I see, it is tight as hell, and we could lose Florida. New Hampshire, same thing. Virginia, you got to step up. You're still in the running. North Carolina and Ohio close at 7:30 p.m. along with West Virginia. Ohio is not in the bag for Donald Trump. And North Carolina could be a problem. Could be a problem. So you got to step up. If you hear me, and many of you do. 8 p.m., most of Michigan closes. Folks, you need in Michigan, you need to get to the polls. You say, well, the Democrats are going to. It's not true. They might. But if we muster a couple more percentage of votes, we can take Michigan. I don't know what's going on in Pennsylvania. I'm told it's pretty close. Closer than people thought. Okay, or whatever. Vote. I don't even know why I have to encourage people to vote. I really don't. I don't even know why I have to encourage people to vote. It's our country, right? We're sick of what's happening to our country. Well, this is our shot. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
I can't believe this. I am being told that the panhandle of Florida, where there's a zillion conservatives, is underperforming. That the panhandle in Florida is not turning out in numbers the way South Florida is turning out. Is there a reason for that? So I would like to strongly encourage all patriotic conservatives to turn out in Florida, but I would like to encourage people in the Panhandle. Just a friendly comment. I don't know what you're waiting for, but I suggest you take your cars or your trucks and get to your polling place and get in line as soon as possible. We cannot have another mess in Florida, really. Or if you're at home listening to me on the radio, I think now would be a good time to leave your house or your office or your place of work and go vote. There's no more time left. And get in line. I really believe, I could be wrong, I really believe that if there is a last-minute surge of conservatives and Republicans voting and independents and conservative Democrats voting, there's a possibility here. I'm quite serious about this. It's early in the election, but these big states are coming up now, and I'm the cleanup hitter, and they're dropping in my lap. So I'm telling you, based on what I'm seeing, and I'm not seeing a lot, I'm seeing some, it's now or never, guys. Now or never, gals. This is it. Virginia, better get moving. You close in 30 minutes. I'll be right back.
Blasting conservative fire. The Mark Levin Show. Call in now at 877-381-3811.
I'll tell you what annoys me. People who have access to these exit polls, now look, they're not the Holy Grail. They've been very, very wrong in the past. But who then go on TV and try to dispirit the voters. I don't know who's going to win, and I don't know who's going to lose. I don't know how this is going to break out. I just see the facts as they are expressed in these exit polls, which is an inexact science, and in 2004 was a disgrace. So you should vote out there if you haven't voted yet, like we're behind, because we probably are in a number of these states. But what I'm trying to tell you, what I'm trying to convey is this. I'm looking at what I'm looking at and trying to look at the tea leaves, because this is very imprecise. It appears that Florida is very close and the Panhandle is undervoting. Now, if the Panhandle doesn't turn out, we're going to lose Florida. But it's very close. It appears North Carolina is very close, tipping toward the Democrats, but can be pulled back to the Republicans. So if you live in North Carolina and you hear me and you haven't voted, you got to vote. Pennsylvania and Michigan are said to be fairly close, if not very close. That's all I know, based on what I'm looking at. And I'm told Colorado is very close. And again, I don't know how this will end, but this will likely, Drudge has it right. He says the evening vote will decide this election. He's probably right. New Hampshire. New Hampshire closes at 7 p.m. Eastern Time in 25 minutes. So Pennsylvania, Michigan, North Carolina, Florida, New Hampshire, Colorado, and also, I might add, if people in Virginia get out and vote, it'll make a difference. And you got very important races in Virginia, congressional races, particularly the 10th in Northern Virginia. Comstock versus Bennett. Bennett is really a resident, or has been, of Washington, D.C. You've got a very, very important election in New Jersey with Scott Garrett in Northern Jersey in the 5th District, I believe it is. Very important. You've got other important elections, Senate elections. Missouri, I think the Democrats ahead there. Pennsylvania, the Democrats ahead. New Hampshire, the Democrats ahead. These are three radical leftists who are going to vote on Supreme Court justices and everything else. So it all matters. Turnout is supposed to be big, but I don't understand the panhandle of Florida. I don't know what's going on there. You can hear me, and many of you can. I'm on a 100,000-watt station there. And you voted. I suggest you call family members and friends and get them in line. You got 25 minutes. There's a number of important states in this regard as well. And Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Florida, all these states are very important. Part of Florida closes at 7 p.m., part of it closes at 8 p.m. You know, we'll talk about this more after the election. I'm really furious that so many of these so-called battleground states are formerly Republican states. This is what the Democrats have done. And the Republicans have allowed them to do it. In some cases, they've participated in it. In many cases, they've participated in it. And you got Toomey running for the Senate in Pennsylvania. It's a tough race, a very tough race. I don't believe Rubio's doing as well as he was doing. Again, in part due to the fact that the Panhandle and other parts of Florida are not turning out. I'm not saying all is lost. I'm just saying vote. Darrell Glenn in Colorado. Ron Johnson in Wisconsin. Joe Miller, by the way, in Alaska. This is important. We got our buddy Brian Mast in Florida. I mentioned Comstock and so forth. Now, what's at stake in this election? Everything. What's left of the Constitution and the Second Amendment, Hillary Clinton's made clear what she's going to do to the Second Amendment. Destroy it. You know, it amazes me how many people are screwed up in this country voting for her when they know she's going to defend Obamacare and make it even worse. It just amazes me. The ignorance. Truly, the utter stupidity. It's appalling to me. And so those of us who get it, you know, we got to act. All right. Let's take a call. Do we have a really good caller there, Mr. Producer? McKinney, Texas, the great WBAP. Jeff, how are you, sir?
I'm great, Mark. How are you? Long-time listener, first-time caller.
All right, sir. Go right for it.
Trying to keep Texas red. So here's what I'm
Texas
thinking.
will be red. Go ahead.
With this mass that we have, this movement that was created, we need to figure out what companies donate to Clinton, and then all of us conservatives can get a list of companies that do not donate to Clinton and spend our dollars there.
This is post-election. We can talk about that later. Sir, we have 22 minutes until some of the most crucial polls in states close. What do you want to tell your fellow citizens?
Get out and vote.
All right. Thanks for your call. Get out and vote. I think I'll hold off on the callers right now, just because I need to. Hispanics are fueling, according to what I'm reading, Hillary Clinton. In other words, without this huge Hispanic vote, she wouldn't be surviving. So if she's elected president, not only will the borders be open, they'll probably send postcards all over the world encouraging people to come into the country. Trump has solid support with blue-collar white voters. Clinton has better support with women than Trump. Trump has better support with white working men. I don't know what good that does right now, but that's information we have as a result, too, of the exit polls. I don't know if this is going to be a nail-biter or not. That'll depend on a lot of our fellow citizens in these different states. Here's the thing. I always vote early. No matter what job I've ever had or jobs I've ever held, I always wanted to be among the first in line. It didn't matter if I lived 35 miles from work, which I have in the past. It didn't matter if I had to be at work at 7:30 in the morning. I would tell them I have to vote, then I'll come in. I always wanted to be among the first in the door. And so, if people still haven't voted, or they can't make up their mind or something, I just don't get it. Do you get it, Rich? No clue. At this point, with so much at stake, at stopping Hillary Clinton, I really don't. I mean, people shouldn't need me to cheerlead. But I'd hate to be sitting here in an hour or so, looking at some of these results, and saying, good Lord, we're 1,000 votes apart in a state that just cast 12 million votes. You know, something like that. We don't want to be in that position, do we? Or, oh, look at that. Hillary won and the Senate's 50-50, which means Tim Kaine is the tie vote break, and Chuck Schumer is now Majority Leader of the United States Senate. All that's at stake right now. I think the principled and moral thing to do is to try and prevent this. Don't you? Not to write pieces at National Review and the Weekly Standard and other places telling us how principled you are, and if Hillary doesn't lose and Trump wins, that somehow conservatism is dead for the rest of time. That's just nonsense. We will duke it out. We will duke it out within the Republican Party. We will duke it out between different parts of the base and so forth. That's a healthy thing, but we can't duke out a damn thing if Hillary Clinton's president of the United States, if she takes the Senate, packs the Supreme Court, owns the bureaucracy. What are we going to duke out? What are we going to do? All right. Do we have another caller from one of these? Do we have a caller maybe from Florida or a caller from any of these states? I don't have my screen. That's why I'm asking Mr. Burdett. Greg, WNTP, Philadelphia. How are you, sir? Pennsylvania.
I'm doing great. I have a very small sample for you. I always go to the vote it late to see what the numbers are. So I was number 272 out of 530, and that was a little over an hour ago. They told me at the polling they're expecting 60 to 65% of people coming out to vote.
Yeah, but is that good in a presidential? I have no idea for that place.
Well, I've never seen it. I mean, like I said, I always go late so I can see the number. I've never seen it more than 38, 40%.
Well, you know, I hear this every presidential election. And by the way, you might be exactly right generally, and for your precinct too. But I always get these. I've never seen so many people. And then it's like, oh, we have 5 million less people voting in 2012. But you might be right, because now they're saying in these exit polls that there's a large number of people voting.
Yep.
Are you in a Republican or Democrat area?
It's kind of still mixed. I'm in the lower Northeast. I'm not where everybody has the nice single houses, but it's mixed.
Where are you, near Bustleton and Route 73? Where? Cotman?
Cotman and the Boulevard.
Oh, I know exactly where you are. I used to hang around out there. Yep. By the way, may I say this as a side point?
Sure.
So I drive up there, and I'm looking for my old haunts with the Italian water ice and the salt pretzels. They're all gone. What's that all about? We lost the caller. I stunned him with my comment. Okay, I'm looking. Well, let's go to Andrew in Gwynn, Michigan. Sirius Satellite. How are you?
I'm doing great, sir.
Did you vote, my friend?
I did. I absolutely did. I was number 23 this morning.
All right. Go right ahead. Quickly, please.
Well, I work with some millennials, and a lot of them are, still undecided. We got an hour left here in Michigan, and they can't make up their minds. And it's, you might as well flip a coin at this point. They're putting.
Well, rather than that, why don't you tell them why they should get out and vote now?
Well, they don't understand that.
No, I'm not asking you what they don't understand. What message do you want to tell them?
This is our country. Everything depends on this. This isn't just a president. This is the Supreme Court. This is laws. everything. I mean, this is it.
Mm-hmm. All right, my friend. All right, we'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
11 minutes. Much of Florida, Georgia, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Vermont, and Virginia close. If you're in a car, you get in line. If you're in an apartment complex and you're close to your polling place, you get there, you get in line, you'll be able to vote. So you just have to get there before 7 p.m. 7:30 p.m., these are Eastern Time, North Carolina and Ohio and West Virginia. North Carolina, Ohio, and West Virginia. 8 p.m., the western panhandle of Florida closes. Alabama, Connecticut, Delaware, D.C., Illinois, Kansas, Maine. Maine's important. Maryland, Massachusetts, most of Michigan. Mississippi, Missouri's important because you have a Senate race. New Jersey's important. You got Scott Garrett there. North Dakota, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, important for a lot of reasons. Rhode Island, South Dakota, Tennessee, and Texas. That would be 8 p.m. A major bank is being criminally charged with identity theft for creating an estimated 2 million unauthorized accounts using customer data. Employees and executives could face felony charges and imprisonment for forging signatures and moving money into unauthorized accounts. No matter where you bank, make sure you closely watch your personal and financial data. Identity theft is America's fastest-growing crime. It happens when thieves use your information to pretend they're you. They can buy things on your credit, liquidate bank accounts, or get retirement funds. LifeLock scans hundreds of millions of transactions every second. If they detect your information, they send you an alert. If you have a problem, a U.S.-based agent will work to fix it. That's different than free credit monitoring, which only alerts you to changes in credit. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. LifeLock is the best identity theft protection available. Memberships start at $9.99 a month plus applicable taxes. So go to LifeLock.com or call 1-800-457-LOCK. Use promo code Levin, that's Levin, and get 10% off your LifeLock Ultimate Plus membership. Call 1-800-457-LOCK. That's 1-800-457-LOCK. Now, six states will close at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's about 7 or 8 minutes from now. And those numbers will start to trickle in. They'll start to trickle in for New Hampshire. They'll start to trickle in for Virginia, for South Carolina and Vermont, for Georgia. They'll start to trickle in, I'm guessing, for most of Florida except for the Western Panhandle. So if I were in the Western Panhandle, I would ignore it and just get going. 30 minutes later, at 7:30 p.m., in about 37 minutes, North Carolina, Ohio, and West Virginia will close. So that means by 7:30 p.m., in about 37 minutes, most of Florida, New Hampshire, Virginia, these are so-called battleground or partial battleground states, North Carolina, Ohio, will be closed. So the clarion call goes out to those of you who have not voted and you're in those states. And by the way, if you're in any other state, you should be doing exactly the same thing. Georgia, South Carolina, West Virginia, Vermont, and so forth, Indiana, Kentucky. All these votes matter. And then in about an hour, a whole slew of states close, including Pennsylvania, most of Michigan, 8 p.m. Eastern, New Jersey, and then 8:30 Arkansas, 9 p.m. Arizona, Colorado, Wisconsin, as well as you'll see New York, Louisiana, Minnesota, Nebraska, New Mexico, Wyoming. 10 p.m., Idaho, Iowa, Montana, Nevada, Oregon, and Utah. 11 p.m., Alaska, California, Hawaii, and Washington. Again, the Senate's at stake, too. Those of you who live in these states. Missouri, the latest polls there, and I'm not talking about tonight, I'm talking about the last few days, shows Trump way ahead in Missouri. And your Republican senator, I'm not even a fan of your Republican senator, but he's running against a leftist, is behind. I believe he's behind right now. Toomey's behind. In Pennsylvania, I think Ayott's behind in New Hampshire. I don't know the status of Burr in North Carolina. So this is out of my hands. It's out of the hands of most of the people of the country, the people who live in these formerly red, now battleground states. It's really up to you. It's up to you to get on the phone, tell your family and friends and so forth to get going. With about 6 minutes left till 7 p.m. Eastern Time when these polls start to close. Now, I want you to stick with me. We're going to analyze this. We're not going to spin it for or against one candidate or another. We're going to take a good look at these numbers as they start to come in. They'll come in. It'll probably be too early with these so-called battleground states. And we'll find out if after all these months and after 8 years of Barack Obama and after 8 years of the Clintons, the American people are serious about restoring the republic or whether they're not. And we will find out. We will know by the end of the night. Maybe. Maybe not, but maybe. I'll see you in a few minutes. I'll be right back.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, everybody. Mark Levin here. Our number, I got it, 877-381-3811. 877-381-3811. I'm looking at the same numbers as these cable TV programs, by the way. Aren't we, Mr. Producer? So but they spin and they do this and they do that. Here's what's been called so far. Vermont for Hillary Clinton, Kentucky and Indiana for Trump. Virginia, they're not calling yet. In Georgia and South Carolina, they're not calling yet either. So that's where we are. That's it for now. And they're not calling New Hampshire either. So we'll see. That's where we are. Those are the facts. And I'm going to monitor these numbers, and we're going to keep track of them. So Indiana and Kentucky, Trump, no surprise there. Hillary Clinton, Vermont, no surprise there. Virginia, probably leaning towards Hillary Clinton at this point, but not called yet. Georgia and South Carolina the other way, not called yet. And New Hampshire, nothing yet. That's it. 1% in New Hampshire with Trump leading. So that really doesn't mean anything. But as the minutes go on, they'll start to mean something. And at 7:30, the polls in North Carolina and Ohio close. You may be wondering about a few of these Senate races. Rand Paul won in Kentucky, which I'm very pleased about. Isaacson in Georgia is leading, but they're not calling that yet either. Indiana, we don't know about your Senate race yet. Evan Bayh was kind of a neck-and-neck race and so forth. So I wish that Karl Rove would take that whiteboard and shove it, Mr. Producer. He's just been wrong so often. It's just embarrassing, and they keep bringing him back and bringing him back. Let's take a couple calls as we watch this. as we watch what's taking place. Let's go to Al, Hanover, Pennsylvania, the great Hanover Pretzels. Sirius Satellite, how are you, sir?
Doing fine, Mark. Thank you for taking my call.
All right.
I just felt the need that I had to call in to talk to my Pennsylvania conservative voters and friends surrounding the Philadelphia area. Get out and vote. Get out and vote. We are so close to win this for once in a great while. Pennsylvania has gone the other way too many times. Come on, people. Get out and vote. I was out at 7 o'clock this morning, and we had a great turnout at my voting poll station. It was unbelievable. I always vote in the morning. I got there, and I actually had a hard time finding a parking spot, Mark. It was unbelievable. The line was going out the door, and I just feel like that we need to get these counties out, and we need to turn them out so we can defeat the.
You really need the central part and the western and northeastern, northwestern, southwestern. You need those parts of the states of the state to come out in big numbers to counter the machine in Philadelphia.
And that's why I'm calling. I know you've been doing your part and you've been speaking to everybody, and you're doing a great job, Mark. But I just felt like, as being a Pennsylvanian, they might want to hear from me also. I know you're a Pennsylvanian also, but just want to tell everybody.
All right, my friend. I'm with you. Thank you very much. Good man there. Let's continue, shall we? Kevin, Pensacola, Florida, Sirius Satellite. Go.
How are you, sir? Love the show. First-time caller in. I heard you making that comment that the panhandle wasn't turning out and the voter was a little bit lower. It took me 30 minutes to go ahead and vote here in Pensacola. There was probably about a good 75 to 100 people waiting behind me, and the line never kind of got smaller. As we were leaving, more people were coming in. So the panhandle should be coming. Those who may not go ahead and fully agree with Mr. Trump, the alternative is just unspeakable. And it's not just...
but that's a point. It really is unspeakable. And by the way, you notice the liberal Democrats, they don't have never Hillary, do they?
No, sir, they don't.
If they can get 80% of what she's offering, they're going to be thrilled. Well, maybe we're being effective. I don't know, but people still need to turn out. In the Panhandle, they still have time. As you know, the Western Panhandle, and those polls close at 8 p.m. All right, Kevin. Do you think most of those people? How do you think most of those people might vote? You can get a sense of it when you go down the line a little bit.
It was actually really kind of quiet on the lines. It was a pretty serious feeling there. We're typically more of a red area, so I think this is definitely going to go for Trump in our area. Donald Trump has visited Pensacola like 3 or 4 times, and the turnout and the rallies have always been huge.
All right, my brother. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Jim, Toms River, New Jersey, the great WABC. Go.
Hey, Mark. I'm actually listening on Sirius, and you're the reason I have Sirius Radio. I'm 59. I'm unemployed for a year. I believe if Hillary wins, I'm retired, and I just don't know it yet. I believe if Trump wins, within 6 months, I'll be working again. Mm-hmm. We got a chance to make history here. We got a non-politician running for president that's willing to clean things up. People can get out and vote and be a part of history, or they can sit home on their butts and basically vote for the same old thing.
All right. Jim, and I wish you the best, my friend. Hope you find something soon. But you're right. I think it's going to be a huge problem with Hillary. Absolutely. Early returns are coming in on these states, but there's so few votes. I'm hesitant in a state like Florida, as an example, to get into any numbers, because I don't even know where these numbers are coming from. Nobody does. Ron, in Texas. Where are you in Texas, Ron?
How you doing, Mark? I appreciate you giving me a chance to talk to the Americans.
Wait a minute. You're in Texas? You sound like you're from New York.
Yeah, I am. I'm from New York, born and raised, but I moved here about 20 years ago. I have a hard time losing the accent.
All right.
But if I can, Mark, if I can to the chase, the problem with Americans is they want to be right instead of the truth. The truth is that this is it. This is the last election. If Trump don't get in, the republic's over. It's gone. There ain't nobody else going to save us. I don't care what your opinion is about Trump. We got to fight for the truth. And the truth is we're on a downward spiral with no hope. And the only hope we got right now is this man that I believe that God has put here in front of us. You need to get up.
Well, I don't know if God put him in front of us, but what you're saying is we have to stop her, correct?
I'm telling you, no doubt, stop her.
I don't know why this doesn't get through to resonate to people. What a disaster she is.
Well,
but what do I know? Yeah. All right, my friend. Ron, I appreciate your call. Let's slip in another. Charlotte, Arlington Heights, Illinois, the great WLS country. Go.
Hi, Mark. We have a problem here. The Democrats pushed and pushed and pushed, and finally 2 weeks ago, we now have registration right on Election Day.
It's disgusting. You have a one-party state, and just look what they behave like communists, quite frankly.
Well, New Hampshire has the same problem. I think it's ripe for fraud.
Well, they don't care about fraud. How come fraud always helps Democrats?
Well, no comment. But we do have an important Senate seat up for grabs, Mark Kirk, Republican. So, you know, I'm just hoping that we're pretty safe.
He's in pretty rough shape right now.
That's what I hear, and the Senate is pretty close right now. So people in northern Illinois, get out there.
Yeah, but you see, when these senators, they run to the left, they think they're going to win over Democrats. It rarely happens.
Yeah, that could be. At any rate, I'm hoping for the best. We have another, half hour at least. We close at 7 o'clock Central Time. So
well, you've got 45 minutes then.
Time for people to get out. But I'm just curious what's happening with the Democrat machine in Chicago, in the city, with people coming in to register the same day and vote the same day.
Chicago's notorious. Philadelphia's notorious. These are the, if you will, the tail that wags the dog in these states, really. These are big states. There's a lot of people in them, but you have a heavy concentration of people in these metropolitan areas, and these Democrat machines are corrupt as hell. And by the way, years and years ago, before they had Democrat machines, they had Republican machines that were corrupt as hell. But it lends itself to these kinds of machine politics and these antics, and we never really know what the hell is coming out of these cities in terms of the vote. All right, my friend, I appreciate your call. Gary, Shenandoah, in the Shenandoah area of Virginia, Sirius Satellite, go.
Hey, Mark. Voted today, and things were very, very busy. After I voted, I went to the other places around Waynesboro, and they were busier. So
I sure hope so, because, like a third of the population is in Northern Virginia.
I know, and we're ruled by Northern Virginia, so. But I did send a mass text message out to all my friends, and I said, friends don't let friends vote for criminals.
Very good. And we ought to use social media like that. All you folks out there in the states that haven't voted, haven't ended yet, you should text, you should email, you should call, you should do everything. We can be our own precinct captains right at our own, den, right at our own kitchen table. All right, Gary, appreciate your call. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Shame on the news media, and that would include Fox and all the rest of them. They shouldn't be showing any results for Florida until the whole state is closed. So you got a big chunk of the state that closes at 7 p.m. And then you have the western panhandle, the panhandle area, that closes at 8 p.m. It's very, very close, even without the panhandle. But people in the panhandle need to turn out in big, 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 big numbers. And they've got till 8 p.m. So you have the benefit of looking back and seeing what's going on now. But I'm just saying, I've never liked this. I remember when I was a young kid that they wouldn't call any of this stuff until California voted, so as not to influence all the other states. But here they won't even wait until an entire state votes. You got the same situation in Michigan and some other states. Well, what am I supposed to do? Write City Hall? Nobody's going to change for me. Anyway, 7:30, North Carolina and Ohio close. 7:30. Ohio is closer, I believe, than people had thought, and North Carolina, incredibly close. Now, these are states that, some people live in states that are so thoroughly blue, they vote because it matters in local races and congressional races and Senate races, maybe. But people that live in these states where it's so tight, you have an opportunity to be the Paul and Paulette Revere's, to do what so many of the rest of us cannot do. Your vote's actually more valuable than my vote, let's say, because of the significance of what's going on in your particular state. And that goes for Ohio, North Carolina at 8 p.m., most of Michigan closes, Pennsylvania, and, of course, the Panhandle that I've been talking about. And there could be a few states in here that surprise us, but I don't know which states they are. Just the general rule is vote. All right, let's take another call here. There's no new news to tell you. I'm on top of this. I'm watching every second of this. Trust me. Let us go to Mark. Fort Bragg, North Carolina, on the Mark Levin app. Go.
Sir, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. Thank you, my brother. Thank you for your service.
My pleasure, sir. I wanted to call and talk to you and talk to you for a very long time, so I'll be very, very brief, because I know you got a lot of things on your mind this evening. 20 years military, 2 tours in combat. I would just like to say, look, I didn't bleed and get hurt and lose soldiers overseas so people can sit back on their big, fat, dumb and happies. I serve so that folks can get out there and actually vote. It doesn't matter what their party affiliation is. That's why I serve. And I just want to let you know that I wish that I had a platoon of Mark Levins. What we could have done over there, God only knows. But I tell you, sir, you really, really are an asset to this nation. And I just want to thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. You've met my wife twice. I call you her boyfriend. But at the end of the day, look, I really love what you do. And I just want to let you know that you've got my support 100%. And I just wish that people would take into consideration next weekend. It's Veterans Weekend. We go overseas for tonight. This is why we wear the uniform. And I just want to let you know from the bottom of my heart that there are thousands of us that wear this uniform for tonight, for this particular night.
Well, first of all, you're so right about the military and why this is crucially important. Your gracious comments about me are undeserved, and I really appreciate them, but I want to thank you. And, Mark, give your wife my best. Would you please?
I will, sir. She hears you every night, so she knows you that you got her in your heart.
All right, man. North Carolina. That's our man from North Carolina. He's saying, come on, everybody, let's go. Thank you for your call, my brother. North Carolina closes in about 5 minutes, so if you're near, get in line. If you're in line, stay in line. Let us go to Fred, trucker friend in Utah. Go right ahead. Sirius Satellite. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you, Mark?
Very well, thank you.
Well, Mark, I'm kind of worried about these people over here in Utah who are trying to split the Republican vote between Trump and McMullen. This McMullen guy, nobody knows who he is outside of Utah. He's just a blip in the radar here in Utah. 2 months ago, nobody knew who he was here. And now they're threatening to split this vote. We got 60% of our population is Republican, 40% Democrat. So if we split that vote, that means Hillary gets 40% of the vote. The 60% splits between the McMullen and Trump, and maybe a little bit might go to Johnson. Hillary gets the electoral votes. We can't let that happen. This is
wouldn't that be amazing? I mean, I find these Benedict Arnold tactics just outrageous. I understand that these guys don't like Trump. I got all that. But we have to defeat Hillary Clinton. She is the problem. And she'll be the problem today. If she's elected president, she'll be a problem for 4 years. It'll affect our health care. It'll affect our jobs. It'll affect our bank accounts. It'll affect the nature of the country, our military, police officers. I mean, hell's bells. Vote on behalf of the cops. Vote on behalf of the military. At least do that.
Exactly. It's not about the next 4 years. It's about the next 4 generations. I mean, if you know somebody that has a baby or is going to have a baby, ask yourself, is it right to saddle that baby with a $20 trillion debt that's growing, and probably by the time that baby enters the workforce, it'll be $40 trillion in debt. And it's just going to keep doing this if we allow Hillary in the White House. We have to unite behind Trump.
All right, my friend. Thank you for your call. Now in Florida, keeping a very close eye on Florida. The Panhandle has not closed yet. We're not getting numbers. But I'm saying, you folks in the Panhandle, you now are going to make the difference in Florida. This is no joke. This is no false alarm. You have 32 minutes to make a difference. 32 minutes, that's all. Pennsylvania, Michigan. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin says today what the backbenchers will repeat tomorrow. Call Mark at 877-381-3811.
North Carolina, very close. Just close, and obviously it's too close to call. Ohio, very close. Too close to call. Florida, the Panhandle is still out there. And, of course, crucially important. Just whisper in my ear, Mr. Producer, what are you seeing in Florida? We're watching different numbers from different sites that have actual raw numbers, so we can ignore cable TV and just get down to the facts here. What percentage of the vote is in there? I can't tell. It's where you're seeing 45%? Okay, 45% of the vote in. That's pretty tight. Okay. Very, very interesting. It's an effective tie. If we can get the Panhandle vote in there, we'll kick her butt. We'll see. We'll see. You got to get going. The Florida Panhandle closes at 8 p.m. Pennsylvania closes at 8 p.m. Most of Michigan closes at 8 p.m. North Carolina's too close to call. Ohio's too close to call. This is going to be one of these elections, isn't it, Rich? I mean, in the end, it could be a blow-up, but I don't know. It's very, very interesting in some of these states. New Hampshire hasn't been called yet. Virginia, Hillary has a lead, but that hasn't been called yet. Georgia, Trump has a lead. That hasn't been called yet. Trump has won West Virginia, Kentucky, Indiana. Clinton has won Vermont. Don't read too much into this. You know, we haven't had New York and New Jersey and Illinois, you know, some of these big blue states yet. And they will come. You know, the economy is not in good shape. Since we left the gold standard in 1971, total outstanding public and private debt soared by 40 times. Now, by contrast, GDP expanded by only 16 times. The country's current ratio of debt to income is an unprecedented and dangerous departure from its historic norm. Now, we got here as a result of money printing, perpetual Washington stimulus, and bailouts. And according to David Stockman, former director of the Office of Management and Budget under President Reagan, the meltdown of 2008 was spring training for what's coming next. If you believe, like I do, that we are in for tough times, then you need to diversify. And part of your diversification, you should consider gold and silver. Call Goldline and acquire the recognized safe haven asset that has been valued as a storehouse of wealth for centuries. Goldline is the only gold company I trust. They've been in business since 1960. You stay in business 66 years because you're the best and most transparent at what you do. Please call them now. They're there. 877-365-COIN. Don't wait. 877-365-COIN. Read Goldline's important risk information to see if buying gold is right for you. That's 877-365-COIN. Okay. I'm just looking, refreshing these and looking at the numbers again. All right. Yep. Nicole, Winchester, Virginia, the great WMAL. Go.
Hey, Mark. God bless you, sir. I'm a former Hoosier living in Virginia, and I just wanted to say I worked in conservative politics and government and got a lot of friends, Christian conservatives, who were never Trumpers today, unfortunately. And I just want to say, congratulations on your pious morality, because for me, I'm a mother of 3, 34 years old, and I want to know what they're going to say to the thousands and thousands of innocent unborn who are going to be lost in the next 4, 8, 20 years because they, chose to vote never Trump, and they've got they can wear their high hat now. And, it's not one person, one vote. It's one vote to save millions. It's one vote to save the future of this country for our children and their children's children.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're quite right, Nicole. Thank you for your call. According to the exit polls, whatever that's worth, the Never Trump movement had really de minimis effect. Almost no effect. But if it's really, really close, that's some effect, isn't it? Chuck, New Hope, Pennsylvania, beautiful area. I used to go there all the time. On the Mark Levin app, go.
Mark, it's great to talk to you. It's really an honor. I'm Chuck. I'm from Bucks County. And
you're from Bucks County, which often goes, unfortunately, leans Democrat.
Yes, unfortunately. And actually, New Hope in particular is very Democrat.
Yes, it is. All the artsy types are there. It's beautiful, but they're there, too.
Yeah, definitely. So I wanted to tell you I'm a millennial attorney, and what I do is I enjoy, interacting with Democrats all the time. It's been a part of my whole life. They are always challenging me, and I'll always take them on. I want all of your listeners to understand that, there are young people out there who listen to you and are inspired by you and your books. I have all your books. I have actually signed copies of everyone except for Ameritopia. And I also am a Levin TV subscriber. And it's very important to me to be knowledgeable and understand the facts, because when we're armed with those things, we can go and we can challenge the people who don't have that information, who stand behind these platitudes and the racist and bigot challenges that they put up against us, and we can stand strong and we can win those arguments. And I do it all the time. The only rule is, Mark, that I don't do more than 3 liberals at once because they get crazy.
I want to tell you something, Chuck, how thankful I am for you and your call. When I sit down and I labor over these books, and I work very, very hard on these books, I think I'm really the only national host that truthfully writes his books. And I spend my weekends on it, and early in the morning and late at night. Chuck, I think about people like you. That's who I'm writing for. People who are going to take the information, the knowledge that I'm able to husband and make the case where other people don't have time. So you can go out and be the Paul and Paulette Reveres that you are. So, Chuck, I really want to thank you for that very much. Now, you're in New Hope, so you're voting in a Democrat area. Was the turnout heavy?
It was heavier than normal. I will admit that, but I got there later than normal. I usually get there right when the polls open. Today I got there a little bit later, so that's probably why. One other thing I wanted to mention to you, Mark. Actually, I just finished up work, and I'm going down to a Donald Trump party in Newtown to go, support him there. And on the way down, I stopped and got some Chick-fil-A because obviously you got to support Chick-fil-A. So that was my dinner.
Man, you're hitting all the buttons. How old are you?
I'm very inspired, Mark, by you and the listeners and the movement. I can feel it, and I'm really excited. And I think we got a good shot today.
Tell me how old you are, Chuck.
30.
God bless you, brother. What law school did you go to, may I ask?
I went to Rutgers in Camden.
Oh, yeah, know exactly where it is. That's a tough little neighborhood there, by the way.
It is, and actually, I went to Rutgers undergrad. There was a lot of liberals there, and actually I kept it hidden for so long, Mark. I didn't tell people my conservative thoughts, and there's liberals all around me, and I just kept it in. And then I started listening to you and some other conservative people, and I said, you know what? Arm yourself with the facts. Go out there and challenge these people and actually convert them. So I do it in a respectful way. And I just say, no, this is what I believe, because they think all the Trump supporters, they think we're all backwoods and we don't know anything. It's not true. So I go out there with the facts and I say, no, well, here's what I believe. Here's why I believe it. And, hopefully I can convert them. Now, have I been successful in converting them? Some will waver on, but the liberals are so hard to convert. I try my best, but, I will never stop fighting.
All right, man. Keep at it. We appreciate it. Well, wait a minute. Let's get his address. Get your address, and you give it to me, Rich, and I'll send him a signed copy of Ameritopia. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me do my own take on this. I'm not an expert, one of these political operators or consultants or whatever, but here we are now. Eastern Time, it is almost 7:45 p.m., right? Virginia's closed, hasn't been called. North Carolina's closed, hasn't been called. Ohio's closed, hasn't been called. Big chunk of Florida's still out. This is very interesting, isn't it, Mr. Producer? New Hampshire's closed, hasn't been called. Now, I don't know how this is going to wind up on the Electoral College side or the popular vote side, but I'm just telling you, look at the pattern. Look at the pattern. North Carolina, Ohio, Florida. Well, we're going to hold off on Florida. New Hampshire, Virginia. I'm not saying Trump's going to win all of them or any of them, or Hillary's going to win all of them or any of them. It's just interesting to me that they haven't flopped yet one way or another. Now, in some cases, there's not enough of the vote in. You got 1% of the Ohio vote in and so forth, but we do have this interesting trend which tells you the obvious. We are mighty close in some of these states, in a number of these states. So if you haven't voted yet in Pennsylvania or Michigan, Pennsylvania, you got 17 minutes to go. And if you have a last, 10 or 15 minute spurt, maybe you can turn that state. I don't know. Same with Michigan. And then maybe the ruling class in Washington and the Democrat Party will start to pay attention to some people rather than take them for granted. The way they attack our coal miners, the way they attack our steel workers, the way they attack our assembly line workers, the way they attack people who get dirt under their nails, the way they attack our truckers, our oil rig workers. It's appalling. The Democrat Party is thrown in with the radical left, white-collar environmental movement. They've thrown in with the no-growth movement. Well, what does that do to blue-collar workers and other people who are trying to make a living? Same with energy independence. They're driving up the cost of energy. Same with Obamacare. They're driving up the cost of health care. If you have a family of four and you're earning $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year, it is almost impossible to make ends meet. Well, Hillary Clinton wants to massively raise taxes. Oh, I'll do it on the rich. Really? Well, it always falls on the head of the little guy, doesn't it? There's just not enough rich. There just isn't. Now, depending how close this election turns out to be, and depending on how close the Electoral College turns out to be, and depending how close some of these states turn out to be, we may well have a result in the next hour or two, or we may not have a result tomorrow. Or maybe this thing will go to the court, or maybe it'll wind up in the House of Representatives. I don't know yet. It's hard to know right now. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Boy, we are looking at everything. You guys would laugh. We are looking at everything. Remember, 8 p.m. Most of Michigan, Pennsylvania. Let's go, kids. Alabama, Connecticut, Delaware, D.C., Illinois, the western panhandle of Florida. You're going to be crucial on whether or not Donald Trump wins Florida. Kansas, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, most of Michigan. Mississippi, Missouri, New Jersey, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas. There is a Levin TV tonight. There's a great Levin TV tonight. I produced this just a few hours ago. And as you know, we've expanded Levin TV to Conservative Review TV. We're going to have other wonderful hosts, including Michelle Malkin, among others. And I hope you'll consider joining us, because after this election, win, lose, or draw, this is the place conservatives, Tea Party activists, constitutionalists, Reaganites need to come. This is the place we want you to come. We've built this for you. It's alternative media, it's alternative TV on its own platforms, multiple platforms. Now's the perfect time to jump in. The network launches in December with new programming. Of course, Levin TV will be the hub of it. We will continue. Give us a call, 844-538-4688. 844-LEVIN TV. 844-LEVIN TV. You can sign up. Give it as a gift for Christmas or Hanukkah or birthdays, for Thanksgiving, or just give it to your father and mother, or your grandparents, or vice versa. If you prefer, you can go to crtv.com, crtv.com. We're giving you a lot of programming. You'll be able to watch it whenever you want. Pretty much most of the devices you're used to, iPhones, Android devices, iPads, iPhones, laptops, PCs, Samsung smart TVs. You'll be able to watch it through Roku and then the Samsung Hub. Where come December, there'll be an icon for CRTV. You click it, and there we are. Ask about it. Look into it. Join us. Now more than ever, after this election, we need to bring our forces together to deal with whatever might come. 844-LEVIN-TV, 844-LEVIN-TV, or CRTV.com. Okay, I'm watching. I'm looking here. Let's see. Okay. South Carolina, yep. Let's see, I'm looking at this. South Carolina now goes to Trump. West Virginia goes to Trump. These are expected, quite frankly. So this is expected. Just like when these big blue states like California start to pop up in New York, Trump needs to aggregate as many of these red states and, of course, these so-called battleground states as he possibly can before we get to these big blue states. I see Rubio at this point. It's a little tighter than I like. Again, the Western Panhandle. You folks in the Western Panhandle, you're going to be crucial. You're going to be crucial in Florida. And if you don't turn out and vote in big numbers, Trump could lose Florida. Don't you agree, Mr. Producer? 100%. It's going to be left in your hands. 8 p.m., Pennsylvania, most of Michigan. Those are crucial states. North Carolina's still too close. Ohio's still too close. We should know more in the not-too-distant future. You know, North Carolina might be so close that one winds up going for hours, frankly. Maybe not Ohio. But North Carolina, yes. And by the way, 8:30 p.m., Arkansas closes. Don't want to leave out our friends in Arkansas. That's the situation right now. Okay, let's take a call. Let us go to, let's see, Troy, somewhere in Pennsylvania, the Mark Levin app. Where are you, Troy?
I'm in Ephrata, Pennsylvania, Mark, between Lancaster and Reading.
Oh, man, nice area, yep.
I love it. It's Pennsylvania Dutch country.
Yes, it is.
And I wanted to tell you that today when I went to the polls, the poll worker said she's never seen nothing like it. Mm-hmm. The turnout was big. And this was at lunchtime, of course. And I agree with you, Mark. It all begins tomorrow or the next day. Because these demographic changes that are taking place need to be addressed big time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or we can't win.
We cannot.
Or we cannot. Look at California. California, in 20 years or so, is unwinnable statewide right now for a Republican.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, Mark, I got the ballot today. It's in English and Spanish.
Of course.
And this is a conservative area. And we just cannot continue down this path because if Trump loses, immediately Lindsey Graham and John McCain will be out there saying we should have went with the Gang of Eight bill, we should have given amnesty, And I'm not in the mood for that nonsense.
And you are exactly right. They will feel empowered. They will feel the wind's behind their back when, in fact, they created this whole situation, didn't they? In spite of them, Trump might win, Hillary might lose, but they created this entire situation. All right, Troy, thanks for your call. The all-crucial third hour of my program. Big states coming in, and we'll see if some of the others are finalized. I'll be right back.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, everybody. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. You seeing what I'm seeing, Mr. Producer? On Florida, as the Western Panhandle votes start to come in, it's 49% Hillary, 48% Trump. Now, listen to this. 78% in. Hillary has 3,585,000 votes. Trump has 3,529,000 votes. So they're separated by, where the hell's my math on this stuff? That's not a lot. By about 50,000 votes, 54,000 votes. Now, that's not to say other votes still aren't coming in from the rest of the state, but we knew that the Western Panhandle just closed 7 minutes ago. 7 minutes ago. So Trump's projected to win Indiana, Kentucky, South Carolina, West Virginia, Missouri, Mississippi, Oklahoma, Tennessee. No surprise there. Hillary Clinton, Vermont, Illinois, New Jersey, Maryland, Massachusetts, Delaware, and D.C. That's where that'd be right now. Let's take a look at New Hampshire. Just bear with me, folks. Let's take a look at New Hampshire. Only 5%. Excuse me. Well, let's not look at New Hampshire. Let's go to North Carolina. Bear with me. I'm looking at the raw numbers. Well, now, this could be interesting, I'm afraid. 51% in, but again, we don't know from where. And Hillary is 52% to 46%. Again, I don't know where all these votes are. It does look like some of the Republican areas are out. So we just don't know yet. Let's take another look, Mr. Producer. Let us go to, let's see, North Carolina. Bear with me. I mean, not North Carolina, Ohio. I'm looking at the raw numbers. Just stick with me. Only 27% of the vote in. Hillary has a significant lead, but for all I know, that's coming out of Cleveland and Columbus. I just don't know. Mark Kirk lost his Senate seat in Illinois. Lost his Senate seat in Illinois. Pennsylvania, we still don't know. A big chunk of Michigan is closed. They have 16 electoral college votes. Pennsylvania, 20. But they're still voting in Michigan and parts of the state, so don't give up yet. In other words, if you're in line, vote. Let me see here. Wisconsin, you close at 9 p.m. Wisconsin, Arizona, Colorado, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, as well as Minnesota, Louisiana, Nebraska, New Mexico, and, of course, New York. 8:30 p.m. Arkansas. 10 p.m. These are Eastern Times. Iowa, Nevada, Oregon, Utah, Montana, Idaho. So we shall see. Let's see. Any others we want to look at right now? I'm giving you up to date on these states that we're these so-called battleground states that we're monitoring. And I want to go back to Florida because the Florida numbers are starting to come in fairly. They're flowing in fairly regularly here. 82% of the vote in. Let's see here. What do you see here? I see 83% of the vote in here. Sorry, folks. It's about 100,000 vote differential between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, 49 to 48%. Now, this is crucial. This is crucial. We'll need to keep an eye on Florida, right to the dirty end. And we may have a result in Florida before I get off the air. It's about 11 p.m. Eastern Time, and the numbers are coming in relatively quickly. But I'll give you another example. Now it's a 60,000 vote spread. You're monitoring this too, right, Rich? Am I doing my math correctly? Yeah, 60,000 votes, right? Went from 100,000 to 60,000. They don't still have those damn Chads down there, do they? I honestly don't know. All right, let's go. Let us go to Carol, Burnsville, North Carolina. Sirius Satellite, how are you?
Yes, sir, Mr. Levin. I'm a little nervous, and I've done everything in my power to volunteer, help fellow veterans, and help my country. And I admire you greatly, and you are truly one of the greatest Americans, and your books are awesome, and I just continually study up and stay focused on spreading the good word and sharing good values with people and my family and everyone. You know, we're all pulling very hard, and I just admire you so much, and it's an honor to speak to you.
You're very, very kind. So what did you see at the vote? And thank you for your service. What did you see at the polling place today?
I'm at the Burnsville Town Center where all our local politicians and everyone's sheriff and everyone's here, and they're all hopeful that it should work out in North Carolina for Trump, even though I heard you saying that we're a little behind, but God willing, you know, believe me, I just can't let myself fall to pieces about this. I do have a disability, and I do take things pretty hard sometimes, but faith will carry me through, carry all of us through, and hopefully God will listen, will get to enough people's hearts to make sure things work out this time.
All right, my friend. Well, you take care of yourself. I appreciate your call very much. Cindy, Moore Park, California, 8:70 a.m. The Answer. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for taking my call. I just wanted to call and let you know that I am still so full of hope that especially Northwest Florida is going to come through and deliver the vote for Donald Trump. I can say that I've been a military wife for over 24 years. We have 4 children. Our 2 oldest, this will be their first election to vote. Our oldest is at the University of Virginia.
Well, let me give you a little bit of information. 85% of the voting in Florida, and the difference is right now 16,000 votes. Correct, Rich? 16,000. It's tightening up.
Well, I can say that my family alone has sent in 4 for Donald Trump, the oldest from University of Virginia, the second one from Florida State. Supposedly, they're supposed to be corrupted by now by the liberal institutions, but they have held on to their values, and we are so proud that they have voted for Donald Trump in this election.
All right, my friend. Thank you all for your service. 24 years, huh? That's very good, and we much appreciate it. 85% of the 86. Donald Trump has taken the lead in Florida. 86% of the vote in. He's got about a 700 vote lead. So it has moved. Now I'm going to keep an eye on this. But I think most of these areas, I could be wrong, that are going to come in, and we're watching this map, aren't we, Rich? Most of these areas, I believe, are more red than blue. That's left in the Western Panhandle. Tallahassee's already counted for the most part, unless they find a whole bucket of Chads or something down there in Miami. Marco Rubio is called the winner in Florida. Rubio holds the Senate seat. This is important. This is why I spent so many weeks trying to back some of these Senate candidates to see if we could at least hold a line somewhere. So Rubio wins re-election in Florida. Now let's check up a couple more things here. let's see. I'd be enjoying this a hell of a lot more if I knew that we were going to win in the end. Our man, Brian Mast, in Florida, 48% of the vote in District 18. You remember Brian Mast. He's a war hero, lost both of his legs. He was under attack by this guy, Randy Perkins. About half the vote in, it's 53 to 44%. Now let's head over to New Jersey, Rich. Let's check out my other buddy there real fast. Let's look at that. Stay with me, folks. This is, I believe it's interesting. Is it not? Let's look at New Jersey quickly on the House. Let's see. Well, it's too early. There aren't any votes in there. Let's look at Virginia. Let's see how... Some of these are bellwether seats, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I want to look at them with you. This is all live. We're looking at raw numbers. Let's look at Virginia. If the damn computer would work, I'd look at Virginia. Okay. Wow. 26% in District 10, right outside of Washington, D.C. It's 50% to 50%. We don't have the actual numbers there, do we? But it's 50% to 50% with 24% of the vote in. That's very, very interesting. Okay. Let's go back to the big map. And let's take a look one more time, if you don't mind, at Florida. We're not even looking at TV. I have TV on. I'm just not looking at it. But by the way, in Virginia, and we don't know what parts of Virginia we're talking about right now. This is the reason they haven't called it. 24% of the vote in. Trump has 54% to Hillary Clinton's 41%. Now, if that does not count a big county like Fairfax, and I don't think Fairfax is in yet, then that flips everything. So we have to wait to see. Looking at this, Fairfax is voting. It's not all in yet. Okay, hold on there, Marco. Let's see here. I want to look at what's considered a bellwether county, which is my county. Where the hell is it? Excuse my French. All right, I can't find it right now. All right. Virginia's still in play. I don't know for how long, but quarter of the vote is in, and Trump's 54 to 41. So we shall see. Trump's building up big leads in these rural communities and so forth. And, of course, Hillary's building up big numbers in Arlington, I'm sure. And there's Loudoun. Loudoun County, Hillary Clinton's leading 55 to 39%. Well, we'll see. In Fairfax, she's leading 64 to 30. But statewide right now, 24% of the vote in. Trump at 54, Hillary Clinton at 41. We shall see. This is actually quite fascinating to me. All right, let's go back to the big map. Let's take another look at Florida. She's up by 100 votes. Oh, please don't do this again. Can't we just win Florida by like 10,000 votes? I have it, Hillary is up by 120 votes with 87% of the vote. Oh, jeez. 87% of the... I'm not laughing because I'm happy about this. I'm disgusted by it. But still, we have a good shot in this state because it's the panhandle that's, let's see, Miami. The only difficult... I'm looking at these various counties. Martin County. Oh, good. That's where I have a home. Martin County went 62 to 35% for Trump. Let's see if there's anything else here that I can tell you. All right, so we're waiting for more of the panhandle. 88% of the vote in. Trump is leading Hillary Clinton by 28 votes. By 28 votes with 88% of the vote in. Let's go to North Carolina. Let's get away from Florida for a minute. I'm looking at raw numbers, folks. That's why it takes me a little bit longer. 54% of the vote in. Clinton has 52 to 46 over Trump. There is about 150,000 vote differential. So he better start picking up votes big time in the remaining 46% of the state. Deborah Ross, 50%. Another radical kook is leading Richard Burr for the Senate, 50% to 47%. I'm a big fan of the governor of that state, and he's behind, 54 to 45%. But, again, it really is too early, because I think a lot of these city votes have come in, and we'll have to wait for the other votes to come in. All right, let's go back to New Hampshire very quickly, folks, and see how much of that vote is in. These are the states we got to keep an eye on. New Hampshire. New Hampshire. There it is. Well, 6% of the vote in, 53-42 Hillary Clinton, so that's not really indicative of anything, although I think New Hampshire is going to be tough. That's where we are right now. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
All right. We're keeping an eye on a handful of states here because there are no other polls closing. 8:30 there's Arkansas. But these other states that have closed, the numbers are being tallied. Now, in Florida, with 89% of the vote in, Trump has a 19,000 vote lead. Now, depending on where that's coming from, it can be wiped out in one move. It's a big state, but I think we're mostly Republican areas right now. So 89% of the vote in. He has 18,000 vote lead right now. Now, Mr. Producer, you keep an eye on Florida there for a second, will you? Oh, I'm going to Marco Rubio has declared the winner. He's 7% ahead with 88%. We want to congratulate the senator. I want to go to Ohio quickly and take a look at what's going on there. In Ohio, it's 31% of the vote in. And, folks, I'm looking at a lot of the votes come in around Cleveland, Toledo, and Columbus and Cincinnati. And it's 51-45, Hillary leading with 31% of the vote in. I don't think we can tell anything from this right now. Portman is the senator. He's the overwhelming winner. Looks like he's beaten Strickland by an enormous number, double digits. Let me move to Pennsylvania. I'm looking at the big states. Just stay with us. Again, I'm looking at the raw numbers. I'm not looking at cable TV. And so there's just not enough vote in. I mean, there's 1% of the vote in. So that means nothing. Let us go back to these kind of bellwether House races that we've been watching together. With 52% of the vote in the District 18 in Florida, Brian Mast at 54%, Randy Perkins at 43%. Let us look at a couple more of these. Just bear with me. I want to look at Virginia quickly. I want to look at the 10th outside of Washington, D.C. By the way, Trump with 44% of the vote in. Again, this can swing. He's starting to lose ground in Virginia. He's got 51%. Hillary Clinton has 44%. It's all going to depend on where these votes are coming from, and I am concerned in this respect because it looks like a lot of the votes left to come. Some of these are in Democrat areas, so we shall see. All right, I'll take a look at these states, and we'll get back, and I'll fill you in as soon as you return.
The establishment's worst nightmare. Mark Levin. Call in now. 877-381-3811.
Looking on my Florida, the raw numbers map here, it's bouncing around. Trump at 49, Hillary at 48. Trump appears to have about an 80,000 vote lead. Like I say, this is a big darn state with a lot of people. It's got 29 electoral college votes. So, we shall see. You got a lot of votes coming from the Western Panhandle, but they're coming from other places too, apparently. Okay, NBC News projects that the Republicans will retain the House of Representatives. Also, I can report that Brian Mast, who we've had on the program, who we've kind of taken under our wing in Florida, has won. He's projected the winner in Florida's 18th Congressional District. I can also report in Virginia's 10th with Barbara Comstock with 40% of the vote in. She has a lead. What is it, Rich? 56% to 44 right now? So 40% of the vote in. We got a little ways to go. New Jersey, I don't know what's going on up there with Scott Garrett yet. Todd Young beat Evan Bayh in Indiana for the Senate, so the Republicans hold that seat. They lost the Illinois seat. Ayotte is behind in New Hampshire. We're going to check up on Toomey shortly. Let's see. Right now, I'm concerned for the good people out there who have IRS debt. Every election cycle, the IRS gets more aggressive with collections, and they don't care whose life they ruin. They can garnish your wages and even recommend you be criminally prosecuted. But did you know the IRS has up to 10 years to track you down? 10 years. So stop hiding from the IRS. Stop putting yourself and your family at risk. Call my friends at Optima Tax Relief. They're the experts. 800-499-6300. Optima can stop the demand letters, stop the aggressive collection actions, stop the IRS from targeting you. Speak with an Optima Tax Relief expert about the Fresh Start Initiative, arguably the best break the IRS has ever offered. This is your chance to perhaps save thousands, even tens of thousands. Nobody knows it better than Optima Tax Relief. They're A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau, and they've helped thousands of people save millions of dollars. Call for your free consultation. Ask about their one-of-a-kind guarantee. Call 800-499-6300. That's 800-499-6300. 800-499-6300. Well, interestingly, Mr. Producer, we're just stuck at 91% in Florida right now, aren't we? Let me do something here. Let's see. The differential now appears to be, what would you say, Rich, about 85,000 votes. Again, with 9% out, that's not a big buffer. And what I'm seeing here is a lot of this Western Panhandle is almost in. So now you have to assume a lot of these votes are coming in from the rest of the state, right? So we'll need to keep an eye on that for the rest of the hour that I'm on the program anyway, that I'm on the air. Let us take another look at North Carolina, folks. North Carolina, Trump has picked up, Mr. Producer and country. 59% in, Hillary at 50, Trump at 47. I'm getting emails out there saying, it really looks ugly, he's going to get whipped, it's this, that, or the other. It's neck and neck in Florida, it's neck and neck in North Carolina. I don't know what it is in Pennsylvania yet. I don't see anybody getting slaughtered. Now, in the end, if all these states tip to Hillary, then she'll have a big advantage. But right now, they haven't tipped to Hillary. I'm just saying, these are the battleground states. In at 9 p.m., Arizona, Colorado, and Wisconsin. And in that grouping, Arizona, Colorado, and Wisconsin, they're crucial states. If he can get Colorado and hold Arizona, maybe pick off Wisconsin, maybe he can't, maybe he won't. But that would matter. Let's see here. Let's go to another call. Well, before I do that, let me just give me a second, folks. Let me go down to New Jersey again. I want to check on the House races there. I want to check on Well, hold on. Just bear with me. Let's see. I am going into the House races. What the hell? I can't seem to get there. Will you? You don't see anything there yet? Okay. Let's take another look at New Hampshire. With 8% in, Hillary's at 53%, Trump's at 42%. Too early to know what's going on there. Let's take another look at Virginia. Virginia was interesting to me. I don't know what's going to happen there, but starting to slip. 52% of the vote in. Trump has 50%, and Hillary has 45%. It's too close to call. Those of you who are interested, Dave Bratt has won re-election with 70% of the vote in, and Comstock is at 56 to 44. And that is a big district where you have a more populated area versus a rural area as well. I'm just taking a look here. Anything else I should be checking, I wonder? I don't think... Well, we're still at 91%, and it looks like Trump has a 90,000 vote lead, but we'll check on that a little later. All right, let's take some calls here. Laureen, Toledo, Ohio, the great WLQR. Go.
First-time caller, and I just wanted to say two things. One is that I voted today. It's a small school. It's usually slow when I go there, and I went during what I thought would be a slow time, and I had to wait for an hour and a half. I could not believe it. I probably got to talk to about 50 people, and I would say 90% of them admitted that they were voting for Trump, so I felt almost like I was at a rally. And the other thing I wanted to say was that something you said last night that hit my heart, and that was you said, "Are you nervous? Stick with me tomorrow. We'll go through this together." And that's exactly what I did. You got me through two really hard. The reason why I say that is because you got me through two really hard elections. I remember making sure I was off work at 6 o'clock so I could listen to you right away, and I felt like we went through that together. So when you said that last night, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like you're too young to be my dad, but kind of like that. And
well, thank you.
I really appreciate it so much. Because
well, here's the thing. Those of us who care about this country, in the end, we better stick together, because there's apparently a whole bunch of people who don't. And I will put it that way, too. It's obvious to me. Now, let me tell you about Ohio, since you're from Ohio. 34% of the vote in. It's 49-47 Clinton. She's leading Trump by about 50,000 votes right now. I cannot tell exactly where all these votes are coming from, because they're taking votes from all over the state, the blue areas and the red areas. But so we don't know yet where they're coming from, but you got a ways to go in Ohio. You're only about a third of the votes in, and it's 50,000 votes separate them, 49 to 47%.
Well, I wish you weren't off at 9, because I don't know.
So do I. I could do this. I would like to do this for the next 5 hours, but, you know, I'm not in charge of anything here. I just do my program, so I really would. Maybe next time. Maybe next time I will talk to our network and I will say, hey, let me take this to the end. All right, my friend, good luck. We're all hoping. Our fingers are crossed. We'll see what happens. And what is the percentage? I know, it's 91%. We're stuck at 91%, and he's up 100,000 votes. So anything can happen, I suppose. But some of these states, you know, they're still too close. I don't really know. I think they're basing it mostly on exit polls, Pennsylvania, because earlier in the night I was telling you it was tight in Pennsylvania, but it's based on exit polls. Now, here's the thing about Pennsylvania. They closed at 8 p.m., right? That's almost 45 minutes ago Eastern Time. Right now, there's 1% of the vote in. Now, why is that? 1% of the vote in? I get nervous about this Philadelphia machine. It's just like the Chicago machine. I'm quite serious about this. Let's take another call. Let's see here. Let's go to Nettie. Kenai, I think. Is it Kenai?
Kenai.
Kenai? Where's Kenai?
Alaska.
Kenai, Alaska.
Yes,
How are you?
Just fine. I voted today, Mark. I voted for Trump, and I was feeling pretty good watching Fox News with a dose of Pepto-Bismol. But until they started saying we're projecting wins and such on exit polls. Now, I'm 75. Your memory's much better than mine. I thought they weren't going to use exit polling projections.
Well, here's the thing. In some of these states, it's so overwhelming. I mean, is there really any chance that a Republican is going to win? And let me pick one of these states. In Illinois for president right now? No.
Oh, I understand that. But...
Or Massachusetts or Maryland or any of them. So they'll be right about that. What they shouldn't do, and what I wish they hadn't done, is when you have a state that's in 2 time zones, like a Florida or Michigan, so forth, don't tell the people what the count is. Just wait till everybody's finished voting.
And for us out here in the West, because we're really out here, people that will be voting up here, after work and so forth, I just...
Yeah, but here's the deal. This is, at least in the early parts of this election, I don't know if they're all going to break for Trump or all break for Hillary Clinton, in which case it'll be more lopsided. There's no excuse for not voting, because nobody's calling this election for any candidate right now. So there's no excuse for not voting in Colorado and Wisconsin and Arizona. There's no excuse for not voting in Iowa and Nevada and these other crucial states and all the other states in Alaska. There's no excuse, because right now, as of 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time, this thing's up for grabs. Now, again, I just want to caution, Mark said it's up for grabs. I don't do the prediction stuff. So again, some of these battleground states could tip one way or the other, and maybe it'll turn out to be a blowout. But as of now, more than 2 hours of voting taking place, it's not a blowout. So people can still have an effect where polls are open in Colorado and parts of Michigan and in Arizona and Iowa and Nevada and Wisconsin, so forth, and all the other states. All right, Nettie, thank you for your call, my friend. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
59% of the vote in Virginia. Trump has 50% to Hillary Clinton's 45%. He's ahead by 130,000 votes. With 40% of the vote to go, wherever that vote is, I don't know. I will tell you this. Whatever happens in these battleground states, Republicans have turned out. Conservatives have turned out. In Florida, it's 49 to 48%. Trump has a 120,000 vote lead. That can flip fast. But I'd rather have 120,000 votes than not, wouldn't you, Mr. Producer? And Ohio. Ohio's tight, too. But I think Trump's going to do okay in Ohio. So this, right now, this snapshot, 2 hours into this election or so, the results, that is, there's some remarkable things going on here, in my view. I wish I could sit here another 3, 4, 5 hours. I really do, to carry this through to the end of the evening, but I can't. We'll take care of that next time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Thanksgiving is around the corner. If you want to look 10 or 15 years younger around the dinner table, pick up the phone now and order Esotique XV. The results are brilliant and really quick. Here's Donna from Kingsville, Maryland. I love Chamonix products. They absorb nicely without residue, and I look at least 10 years younger than women my age. Now, Esotique XV is better than anything you can find in the department stores. Why? Plant stem cells, natural peptides, and flower extracts. Amazing ingredients and a proprietary-based delivery system that guarantees quick, clean absorption for maximum results. Simply brilliant, effective, fast. Call 800-SKIN-604 to try Esotique XV for yourself. That's 800-SKIN-604. You'll feel the difference, and you'll see the results very quickly, or your money back, no questions asked. Call now. For the first time, you'll get Genucel for bags and puffiness free with this order. Best offer of the year. Try Esotique XV, risk-free today. Get Genucel as your gift. Call 800-SKIN-604, 800-SKIN-604. They're there right now. That's 800-SKIN-604. Okay. Let's do our roundup before I leave the air. I'm sorry, I don't want to, but I have to. Florida, 91% of the vote in. Trump is ahead by 120,000 votes. Obviously, a lot depends on where the votes are coming from, but he's 120,000 votes ahead as of now, with 91% of the votes in, and Rubio won fairly comfortably the Senate seat. Now we're going to take a look at North Carolina. Now it's 50% to 48%. He's tightening it up, isn't he, Mr. Producer? 62% of the vote in, 50% Clinton. Of course, my asthma's kicking in. 48% Trump. There's a 40-some thousand vote differential between the two, with 36% of the vote left to come in. And now Richard Burr has slipped ahead of Deborah Ross for the U.S. Senate seat. McGrory, 5 points behind, but is moving up against Roy Cooper for governor of that state. Let's take a look at Ohio. Ohio, 36% of the vote in. Wow, it's tightened up. 49% for Clinton, 48% for Trump. There is a 17,000 vote differential in Ohio. That's a big state with 36% of the vote in. Trump's right on her heels. Right on her heels. And then let me look at a couple more. Let's see if New Hampshire's breathing, doing anything. Tiny state, can't they count their ballots? 10% in. Hillary at 52%. Trump at 43%. That is a 6,500 vote differential. So I don't know what to make of that. However, Trump is outperforming Kelly Ayotte. No, actually not. They both have about the same. Ayotte is behind with 10% counted in the Senate race, I suppose. She has 43%, and Maggie Hassan has 53%. It's too early to tell, but got to keep track of that. Let me see here. Let me go to Pennsylvania very quickly. Stick with me, folks. Only 2% of the vote in. Can't tell anything from that. I will say this. 9 p.m. is almost upon us. I will be leaving. But hopefully folks in Michigan have voted. You got Arizona, Colorado, and Wisconsin at the 9 p.m. close. And we'll be keeping eyes on those three states. I suspect Trump will take Arizona. Colorado, if he can take Colorado, that's a big deal. And same with Wisconsin. So I'll be watching this with you. Actually, I'll be at my computer looking at my raw numbers that I've been providing to you. I hope you've enjoyed our election coverage. On your local stations, it will continue. So I hope you'll stay tuned to your local stations. Cross our fingers, ladies and gentlemen, and then those who are patriots out there who haven't voted yet in some of these other states, please help us. We love our country and we want to save it. I'll see you tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Keep your chin up. I am Mark Levin.